what was going on with Tan? He seemed like a different man. How could he be so flirty and calm one minute, and then so jacked up and violent the next? No, you didn't. You handled it perfectly, Tan, Austin said. Despite his calm appearance, Mack caught the tension in his shoulders, which indicated Tan's behavior was not going unnoticed by Austin either. That at least was a relief. Austin knew him much better than Mack did, and if he noticed it as well, that meant there was something going on. As quickly as Tan's temper flared up, it fizzled back down. His shoulders dropped low, and the anger on his face was replaced by sadness. "I'm so tired," he said, his voice quiet. "I'm so tired of it all." "I know, babe." Austin's voice was nothing but warm and kind, and Mack wondered what that statement covered. More than what was going on here. Even he could see that. "You want a hug?" Austin asked. Tan quickly made his way over to Austin, and the two stood hugging each other for a long time. Mack couldn't figure out the relationship between them. At first, he thought they were acquaintances, then good friends. But now he started wondering if they were boyfriends and didn't want to tell him. Then again, he had zero experience with relationships, so for all he knew, he was completely off the mark here. He hadn't caught them kissing, but he couldn't shake the feeling that they were more than friends. They had a casualness around each other that expressed itself in hugs and touches and inside jokes. Then there was the use of the affectionate nicknames for each other, like babe. That had to mean something, right? Then again, Tan called him sweetie and honey, and they weren't even friends yet. Mack frowned as he tried to make sense of it. He sucked at figuring out relationships in social situations. No wonder, what with how sheltered he'd been on the compound, being homeschooled his entire life. The only kids he'd ever known had been his cousins and a few other families living on the compound. Everything he knew about being gay, he'd learned from that one book. Heck, he'd never had any interaction with strangers, let alone gay men, until he'd been sent to camp. Talk about a shock. Even then, they'd kept him in the holding cell for the whole week he'd been there, interrogating him about his dad and the weapons and supplies they had on the compound. He'd never said a word, not wanting to repay his father's betrayal by doing the same thing. The conversations with Tan and Austin were the first he'd ever had with men who were strangers, and the fact that they were gay as well was so mind-blowing he could hardly comprehend it. For the first time in his life, he didn't have to hide who he was. That hadn't even sunk in yet. His survival instinct honed over the years and too deep to let go of his lifelong habit of hiding.